can I get your first and last name, please?
I would prefer not to give it, but I think you will probably be able to know it when I'm done with what I have to say.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to provide your first and last name?
Yeah, but you guys will be able to figure it out, probably.
Okay. Would you like to provide a date of birth?
I'm not going to provide any information. Basically, I have something I want to read you that I want to make sure you guys have a record of.
Okay, I'm still required to ask these questions.
Go ahead.
Not Benson, however, I'm still required to ask. Would you like to provide your phone number for callback purposes?
It's already been provided, so no.
It is not, sir. I would need you to provide the phone number.
You guys have it. I don't want to provide it. You guys have a record of what I'm about to say, so you already have the phone number. The tip has already been submitted.
Have you already previously reported this to the FBI, sir?
Not exactly.
Okay, and I do need a zip code for other purposes.
Well, I'll give you the zip code, 90025. That's where your headquarters is to.
90025. Alright, so why are you calling FBI?
So I have a statement I'm just going to read you. For the last 3 years, the following governments have violated 18 U.S.C. 241, violating Jonathan Lipman's constitutional rights to cover up their persecution of him as a Jewish or mentally ill person. Lacey Township Schools, Lacey Township Police Department, Lacey Township New Jersey, Ocean County Prosecutors Office, Ocean County Superior Court, Ocean County Sheriff's Office, Oceanport Borough Police Department, Oceanport Borough Municipal Court, Los Angeles Police Department, and Los Angeles Superior Court. They have violated or assisted in violating Jonathan Lipman's 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 13th, and 14th Amendment rights, the Americans with Disabilities Act, due process and jurisdiction. Jonathan Lipman has been harassed in his home, and his home has been broken into by the Los Angeles Police Department without a warrant or permission on multiple occasions on behalf of these governments in New Jersey with the intention to intimidate him out of his First Amendment right. The Lacey Township Police Department and Los Angeles PD have attempted to intimidate Jonathan Lipman out of exposing them for violating 18 U.S.C. 242 in December of 2020. These governments reported Jonathan Lipman to the FBI, hoping the FBI would assist in silencing him with a First Amendment violating arrest. But the FBI was smart enough to know even contacting him and questioning him for his First Amendment rights would violate them. The FBI has investigated...
How have your rights been violated?
I'm not done talking. The FBI has investigated... It would be easier if I just finish and then I'll try to answer your questions. The FBI has investigated this matter. Clearly, the FBI is aware multiple governments are violating constitutional rights because those governments admitted it to them seeking an unlawful arrest. But the FBI discriminates against the public to protect their fellows in government, so they do nothing and don't care how many lives are ruined or if a life is being ruined to cover up persecution of Jewish or mentally ill peoples with ongoing violations of 18 U.S.C. 241. Instead of helping a victimized American citizen, the FBI chooses to help Lacey Schools, Lacey Township Police Department, Lacey Township New Jersey, the Ocean County Prosecutors Office, Ocean County Superior Court, Ocean County Sheriff's Office, Oceanport Borough Police Department, Oceanport New Jersey, Los Angeles Police Department, and Los Angeles Superior Court get away with violating constitutional rights to cover up their persecution of Jewish or mentally ill people. I am calling the FBI to let them know that by the end of this year, Jonathan Lipman will walk down to his local FBI headquarters and refuse to leave until they start holding these constitutional rights violating governments accountable, like they are attempting to hold the former president accountable for what ignoring Jonathan Lipman will demonstrate are political rather than legal reasons. The FBI can either investigate the persecution of an American citizen or arrest them for trespassing and join the conspiracy and rights violations. Should the FBI choose not to investigate and hold accountable at least some of the individuals involved, Jonathan Lipman will fulfill the only thing he's been claiming he will do. He will go on a hunger strike until death in the FBI custody. He is not suicidal, but will not live in a world where your only right is consumption, and that's clearly the goal here by capitalists the FBI actually serve and represent. Now I'm done.
Okay, so what exactly are the rights that are being violated?
My 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th.
Okay, let's start with the first. How is your First Amendment being violated?
I told a government that I will tell the world that they covered up violent anti-Semitism and that it harmed me as a child and they had me put in a mental institution I didn't belong in, violating my First Amendment rights.
How were you harmed as a child because you were Jewish?
They held an. I was severely persecuted probably from 1997 to 2008.
Okay, how are you persecuted?
So I went to public school in Lacey, New Jersey. I received that. I was the victim of Holocaust jokes every day. People threatened to kill me. The two major incidents.
So people in your school threatened to kill you?
Let me tell you. I'll just tell you the two major incidents that are legit issues that happened in 2008. And there are plenty of things that are before that, but these are the two big ones. In 2007, the end of 2007, 2008, I went on TV, a live broadcast, and started disclosing what I was going through. I said I felt like the school was a prison to me. I said I felt like other people's property, and I started recording people being anti-Semitic. I had a video where I walked around in a menorah suit. So the school administration tried to get the telecom teacher, the teacher who was in charge, to get me kicked off TV, and he wouldn't do it. So
you went on school TV?
I was on school TV, able to talk, do morning announcements, sort of deal.
Okay.
So the principal somebody told the principal to get me off TV because this went to 30,000 people in town. So anybody in the morning at a certain time in town could watch this. But the teacher refused to do it. So the principal shut down TV studio and condoned violent anti-Semitism against me for a week until I agreed not to go on live TV anymore. I legitimately got death threats. Other people in
Okay. So what were the death threats?
I'll kill you? You want me to remember specific death threats?
Was it because you were Jewish?
It was because I was Jewish. It was over me being Jewish. They used anti-Semitism.
Right, that's what they said.
Yeah, they used anti-Semitism to intimidate me out of my First Amendment rights all the way back then.
Okay, so, alright, so in regards to the death threats, so you're saying one of the other students threatened to kill you?
Quite frankly, it was probably over 100 people. So for me to specifically single out one person,
Right,
and
these were other kids at the school that were threatening to kill you at this time?
yeah, with the
And they were threatening to kill you because you were Jewish?
yes, they were threatening to kill me because a Jewish person,
So they said so they told you when they threatened you that it was because you're Jewish, or they used anti-Semitic slurs when they threatened to kill you?
yes.
Okay. And you reported this to the police and they did nothing?
I didn't report this to the police.
Why didn't you report this to the police?
Because do you not understand how anti-Semitism works? I'm going to report the whole town and the police. I'm going to say there are 100 students.
Well,
I have. Wait. I have a great way for you to even look into this. I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name of what happens when somebody reports this to the police. Darnell Braggs. Look up what happened to Darnell Braggs when he reported it to the police.
Okay, so you're saying that you didn't report it to the police because that happened to another individual in a different police department?
No, in the same police department, a black kid reported the death threats, and 2 or 3 weeks later, he received so many death threats, he had to change counties. And I was in the same school as him. And this made the newspaper.
Well,
My parents are broken people who aren't even capable of handling themselves, so they were aware of it and did nothing.
so
I have a worse incident from your opinion that probably can be proven.
So the parents couldn't fend for themselves. So who did you stay with?
No, I stayed with my parents.
Okay. So you told me they're broken people and that they couldn't.
You're asking me how. It sounds like you're trying to put the blame on my parents here, and they deserve blame, but they're not capable parents. So
I'm asking. So you only reported this to the school administrators? You didn't report it to local law enforcement, your family, anything like that?
my family knew about it. My family had to go. My family had to go try to defend me. So they tried to defend me with this incident. They went and had a conversation with the principal. Other people in the school, The vice principal tried to get the principal not to do it. So the other people in town knew it was wrong. I mean, they gave me some sort of scholarship for journalism, even though I didn't do journalism, because I exposed how the school was through this incident.
And this was the majority of the students in school were doing this as well?
I would say, no. I had a class of 400 people. I would say probably 75 to 100 people took part in it. And
so roughly a quarter?
I would say roughly, I would feel pretty comfortable. No. Probably, I would say, in my mind right now, like 8 people stick out as threatening to kill me. So there were probably more, but those are what I recall. And then the rest just took part in it by proxy because it was what made people popular.
So then when you were out of school, does this still happen?
I isolated myself.
Okay, so you told me earlier that the police were involved in this as well, and then you also told me that you never reported it to the police.
No.
How did
The police were... Okay, I'll restate. When I was in high school, another student came forward named Darnell Braggs, and you can find this in the Asbury Park Press. There are multiple articles that exist for public consumption. He was being persecuted for 3 years as a black person, and eventually he stood up for himself, and it made the newspaper, and he went all the way to the Ocean County Prosecutors Office, and all that led was him getting so many death threats he had to move to another county. So that taught me not to do anything.
So was the prosecution continued or no?
The county was so anti-Semitic, they didn't do anything. They didn't care. They just did like...
So were they anti-Semitic or were they anti-African-American?
They're both. They're anti-Semitic and...
You told me that he took it to the prosecution's office, correct? County prosecutor?
From what it says in the paper.
Okay, so what happened then?
They did nothing.
So they chose not to prosecute, is that correct?
Doesn't mean nothing happened, but I guess.
Okay, so did it say in the papers why they chose not to prosecute?
I think if you read the articles, you would see they chose not to prosecute because they're a bunch of racists.
So what I'm trying to get at, so I understand with the death threats, and that's something, but unfortunately it's not legal to be racist. So is that why the prosecuting office chose not to prosecute?
Well, I have a better one. I know you guys don't like that one, even though that's the most effective one. But I have a better one. You want a better one? Because something else happened that year that is illegal, and if you guys actually investigated, you will be able to find some sort of record of it somewhere.
Okay, and so, sir, this happened, when you were in high school. Has he been threatened since then?
Yes.
Okay, and you're telling me that a police department and a school district in New Jersey told the Los Angeles Police Department to do this as well, and the Los Angeles Police Department listened?
There's a video of it, so we can determine. From my opinion, the Los Angeles Police Department were in peak COVID, and they didn't have a large enough staff to deal with this, so they just felt, well, we'll just violate his constitutional rights because we don't got time for that.
Okay.
But I want to tell you about the other incident. Let me tell you about the other incident that occurred in high school.
We'll go back to that, sir, but I want to know what the Los Angeles Police Department did, if that's more recent.
Okay.
So what did the Los Angeles Police Department do?
In 2020, I contacted Lacey Township Schools, and I said, this thing happened to me, and I just need closure from it to move on from it. I sent them,
I'm sorry, and this was the school back in New Jersey?
Yes, this is Lacey Schools. I would say on October 18th, an email was sent to them. It was kind of political, but it said, this happened to me, and I need to move on from it. I need some sort of closure of it. So they contacted me, and first one person said, why don't you talk to the town? And then another board member was like, no, why don't you talk to our lawyer? So they arranged me to speak to the lawyer, and then they faked an investigation into it.
What do you mean they faked an investigation?
They pretended they would look into it, and then a month later said they looked into it, but they didn't.
How do you know they didn't?
Well, it would be... I spoke to someone at the school a month later, and then they blocked me from calling them because they disclosed this information, but they told me that they didn't have certain files that they claimed they looked into.
Okay, so they investigated, and this was over a decade later, correct?
I'm not calling... I just want to be clear, I'm not calling about, like... The other thing that happened to me probably might still be something that could be investigated, maybe, I don't know. I know the laws with hate crimes are tricky. I'm not calling about what happened in 2008. I'm calling about what they did to cover it up in 2020 and to now.
Okay, what did they do to cover it up?
They faked an investigation, and they had me put in a mental...
How do you know they faked an investigation?
Well, why is it every time I ask them for the findings of it, they won't share it with me?
So, sir, is it law enforcement that's doing an investigation?
The government of Lacey Township did an investigation, supposedly.
Okay, so if law enforcement's involved, they don't have to tell you what the results of
Law
the
enforcement wasn't involved in the thing I just told you. To my knowledge.
And they told you that the investigation already concluded?
They sent me an email that makes it pretty obvious they don't have information, and they're going to use the lack of information against me and blame me getting abused as a Jewish person on me.
Okay. And then, so how is the Los Angeles Police Department involved in this?
So as I said, in December of 2020, after they responded with this investigation, I said something along the lines of an email, I will tell everybody that you're covering up my abuse. You better be willing to put me, a former straight A student, in jail to cover it up, because that's the only way you're going to silence me. Obviously, they couldn't put me in jail, so they had the LAPD put me in a mental institution.
So did the LAPD confirm themselves that?
Confirm what?
So, sir, the police came and they didn't ask you any questions or anything?
The police came, once again, there's a video of basically all of this. So the police came, the LAPD came, basically this is what happened. And this is how you know the intentions of the Lacey Township Police Department aren't good. So I'm just going to try to tell you the timeline. It's all in the same day. I receive an email that says, we're not going to do anything about your abuse. We're claiming we handled it properly. So I called them and I left messages with their school, and I said, your school is covering this up. And then I sent them an email and I said, I'm going to share the details of this and tell everybody that you're covering up child abuse. So they called the LAPD and they sent the police to my parents' house in New Jersey, even though they knew I lived in Los Angeles. Why they sent the police to my parents' house, they had no reason to involve, probably was to intimidate them, because they still live there. But the LAPD came, and then they asked me their questions, and then they left. And then 40 minutes later, they came back and just detained me, no questions asked, with more police officers. And it's because from what they have told me since, it seems like the Lacey Township Police Department intimidated them with liability. But I don't know, like you said, I can't get information from law enforcement. So that's just...
So when you contacted Internal Affairs, what did they say?
Who?
Internal Affairs.
With who?
The LAPD or the Lacey County.
So I have a video of the Lacey Township Police Department laughing at me, basically, and I can't get anybody with the LAPD on the phone. But there's way more to the story.
Okay. And on what grounds were you taken to the mental health institution?
They claimed I was a danger to myself, but I was threatened.
Were there any kind of suicidal threats or ideations, like you told me earlier with starving yourself?
That's not a suicidal threat or ideation. You once again, you want to violate my First Amendment right too?
But
What?
that's a potential harm to yourself.
No, it's not. I have a First Amendment right to go on hunger strike. Do you really want to challenge that? I don't want to go on a hunger strike, but you guys don't. I've been trying to have this investigated for 3 years now. So you're going to really, as an FBI agent, try to say a hunger strike is me threatening harm to myself that is an actionable threat, you could put me in a mental institution? You really are going to claim that? You're going to claim in America people don't have a right to go on hunger strike? I'd love for you to claim that on record.
I will go ahead and get this information documented for you. Thanks for calling the FBI.